Hello. I'm Aaron from Little Angel Theatre, and I'm making bread. Now, flour comes from wheat. But to turn wheat into flour, you need to take the wheat grains to a mill. It could be a windmill or a water mill. And inside the mill, they grind the grains between two great big stones. I know a story about a mill and a miller and the miller's daughter. They lived in a windmill, and though they were very poor, they were very happy. Sadly, the miller's wife had died when his daughter was very young, but every day the miller's daughter would help him in the mill to grind the grains between two great big stones. But the miller was very boastful, and sometimes he would make up stories that weren't even true. Once he said that his pig could swim.
What? You can't have a pig that swims. That's impossible.
Oh no, my pig does swim. That's right.
How do you know that then?
Well, once I threw her in the middle of a lake, and she swam down to the bottom and came up with a mouthful of pearls and precious stones.
Really? Where are these precious stones now then?
Oh, I accidentally dropped them into the mill and they all got ground down into flour. Probably ended up in a loaf of bread somewhere. Another time, he told people that his horse could speak French.
What? Go on then. Make your horse say something in French.
Oh no, she won't speak in front of strangers. She only speaks to me. And I don't speak French. But the biggest boast of all, he said that his daughter, the miller's daughter, could spin straw into gold. The king of the land was very greedy and very, very stupid. And when he heard this story, he thought, I like gold. I like gold an awful lot. Maybe I could kidnap the miller's daughter and get her to make some gold for me. Oh, the poor miller's daughter. He threw her into a room with a pile of straw and said, "Turn this straw into gold by morning if you like your life." What could she do? She tried. She cried. She couldn't do it. She didn't know how to spin straw into gold. She sat down in a heap on the floor. Just then, crawling in through the window, came a funny little man.
"Oh, you're in a spot of bother, are you? Maybe I could help."
"Oh, could you? I'm in so much trouble."
"Yeah, what will you pay me?"
"Well, I don't have anything to pay you."
"What's that? What's that on your finger?"
And on her finger, she had a ring, a simple wooden ring. It wasn't worth anything, but it was given to her by the baker's boy, who she loved.
"Go on then, give me your ring."
She took it off, handed it out to him, and he snatched it from her, put it in his pocket, and he sat down at the spinning wheel and began to spin. And as the wheel started turning round, the miller's daughter began to feel very sleepy. But just as her eyes were closing, she heard this strange little man sing. "Though I may spin all this straw into gold, who will look after me as I grow old? And when I die, whose hand will I hold? Nobody knows my name." She woke up. The man was gone, and there on the floor was a pile of gold. The king was delighted, I'm delighted. But he was so greedy that he picked her up and threw her into a room with even more straw and another spinning wheel. Turn all this straw into gold by morning, if you like your life. Oh, the poor miller's daughter. She tried, she cried, she couldn't do it. And just when she was giving up, in through the window crawled the funny little man again.
Oh, in a bit of trouble, are you? I could help you out. What will you pay me?
Well, I have nothing.
What's that thing in your hair?
This clip. And in her hair she had a simple wooden peg, but it had been given to her by her mother when she was very small, and it meant so much to her.
Give me that peg.
She held it out, and the man snatched it, put it in his pocket, sat down at the wheel, and began to spin. As soon as the wheel began going round, her eyes started to droop, and she heard him sing. What wakes you up in the dead of the night? What will you carry and cuddle so tight? What fills your days with laughter and light? Nobody knows my name. In the morning, the man was gone, and there was a large pile of gold on the floor. I'm delighted. But the king was so greedy, he took her and threw her into a barn full of straw. Turn all of this straw into gold by morning, and I'll make you my queen. And he locked the door. Oh, the poor miller's daughter. She tried, she cried, she couldn't do it. But then the funny little man crawled in through the window.
Oh, in a bit of trouble, are you? I could help. What will you pay me?
Well, I have nothing. And it was true, she had nothing at all.
Oh, well, I'm sure one day you'll have something precious. Maybe you can give that to me. When that day comes, I'll be paying you a visit. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. And he began to spin. And the miller's daughter's eyes began to close once more. And she heard him sing. What did you buy from me? What were you sold? What keeps you warm when the night is so cold? What is a treasure more precious than gold? Nobody knows my name. And when she woke, there was a huge pile of gold. The king was delighted. But she didn't want to marry the stupid, greedy king, so she ran out the door when he wasn't looking. And as she left, she grabbed a small handful of the gold. And that small handful paid for her wedding to the baker's boy. And they were so happy. There was bread, there was cake, there was croissant all the way from France. And they had a lovely time. A year went by, and the baker's boy and the miller's daughter, they had a beautiful baby girl. And one of those precious mornings, the miller's daughter was looking at her baby girl and said, "Oh, you are my treasure. You are more precious to me than gold." And just at that moment, the funny little man crawled in through the window of the mill.
That's mine, I believe. Hand her over.
Oh no, is there anything I can do? Now, this funny little man did like playing games.
Yeah. Do you know any games?
And the miller's daughter remembered the words to his song. I could guess your name.
Yeah, all right. You'll never guess it, though. You've got 3 days to guess my name.
Is it John?
Oh, no, it's not John.
Is it Peter?
Oh, no, it's not Peter.
Is it Keanu?
Oh, no. I'll be back tomorrow.
And he disappeared off through the window. The miller's daughter was very clever, and she sent her friends to all the villages nearby to see if there were any unusual names that she hadn't learned. And the next day, when the funny little man came back, she tried out all of these unusual names. Is it Jebben?
No.
Is it Flubberlub?
No.
Is it Carbunculus?
No. I'll be back tomorrow for the baby.
And he crawled through the window. But this time, she crept after him and followed him very, very secretly from quite a few paces behind. She followed him for miles and miles through woods and brambles until she came to some dark woods. And in the middle of the dark woods was a clearing where the fox bid good night to the hare. And in the clearing was a little hut. And she saw the man outside the little hut. He was making a fire, and it looked like he was making a cot filled with straw for a baby. He looked very pleased with himself, and as he sat round his fire, he began to sing. Here is your bed on the softest of hay. These are the woods where you'll live and you'll play. And when you're older, to me you will say, I love you, Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin! That was his name. She rushed back through the woods, through the bramble, back in through the window. And the following day, the man came back. They had the baby all dressed up nicely to go, with a little travelling bag, and the man looked very pleased with himself.
Oh, last chance to guess my name.
The miller's daughter said, Is your name Bobbin?
No.
Is it Edward?
No.
Is it Rumpelstiltskin? Oh, the look on the little man's face. He went bright red and was so angry steam started coming out of his ears, and he began to stamp his foot, and he stamped so hard that he stamped a hole in the floor. But this room was just above the granary, and the man fell through the floor into the grains and the flour below. And nobody ever saw him again. Now the miller's daughter and the baker's boy hadn't got a name for their baby yet, and they decided to call their baby after a very exotic sounding Italian bread. They called her ciabatta. But what became of Rumpelstiltskin? Well, some people say he was baked into a loaf of bread. Other people say that maybe he fell in love and found something more precious than gold. But I think he's back in his little hut in the middle of the dark woods, where the fox bids good night to the hare.